The fastest game on foot. Joining us is Jason Goger, General Manager of STX. Jason, thank you for being with us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Is it fastest game on foot or fastest game on 2 feet? I've heard it both ways.
You can say it any way you like, but we go with the fastest game on 2 feet.
You guys have been making lacrosse gear since 1970?
That's correct.
Let's talk about how it's evolved. I mean, it's all plastic now.
That's
In
right.
the old days, it was wood.
That's right. STX was founded in 1970 by a man named Dick Tucker Sr. He played lacrosse locally at Johns Hopkins University, was a standout lacrosse player on the men's lacrosse team there, had a real passion for the game of lacrosse. He also had a sincere interest to see it grow. And at the time, every lacrosse stick in the industry was made of wood. And it was a terribly difficult manufacturing process to make those sticks.
So to that point, it hadn't evolved a whole lot from where the Native Americans started the game.
You got it, absolutely. Up until 1969, the state of the art was the same as it had been for centuries before that. And then in 1970, Dick Tucker Sr. Took some synthetic materials that he'd been using from other industries that he worked in and invented the first plastic lacrosse stick. And Jeff, I think the best story here is that in 1971, just a few short months after the lacrosse stick was invented, every game, every goal, and every assist in the 1971 National Championship game was scored with an STX stick.
Let's talk about the marketplace a little bit. How big do you think this industry is?
It's about a $200 million marketplace if you consider lacrosse sticks, footwear, apparel, all the soft goods and hard goods around the industry.
And there are parts of the country, like this part of the country, where it's a big thing. And there are parts of the country where it's almost nothing. Right?
That's
I mean,
right.
can you tell from your sales, you could sort of overlay that on a map of the United States and see where lacrosse is popular?
It's a good question. The Mid-Atlantic region in the Northeast is still by far the most heavily concentrated area for sales. However, we are starting to see some tremendous growth in the Southeast, in the Midwest. California is becoming a huge marketplace for us as well. So we're starting to see the game spread across the country.
Well, I'll ask you to be an evangelist for the sport for a second, and I know you played in college. Somebody out there with kids, why should they think about playing lacrosse? Or somebody who's a spectator and maybe has never been in the stands for a lacrosse game, why should they pay attention to the sport?
You know, I think what attracts most people to lacrosse is the speed and the creativity that is needed for the game. Unlike a lot of sports in the spring, and those sports will go unnamed, there seems to be a certain rhythm to the game and a certain pace to the game, whereas lacrosse really is free-flowing, it's creative, and it's fast-moving. And so kids of today's generation particularly love the interaction of the ball and the players on the field and how fast everything moves, and being able to adapt to the changing landscape on the field, and being able to hopefully be able to put one in the goal every so often.
The game works pretty well on TV. I think I watched, there was a Maryland Hopkins game maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Sure. Yeah, it's, you know, I think ice hockey struggled a little bit and has struggled to this day with the product that's on TV. I think lacrosse lends itself a little better. It's a bigger environment on the field. You can see the ball. The ball moves a little bit slower than a puck does, and so I think it's a perfect product for TV. I think everyone in the at home though would like to see the game a little faster at the collegiate level than what we're seeing right now.
Let's show off the state-of-the-art stick. This is has the Hopkins colors, and it weighs almost nothing.
That's right. What we have here is the Stallion Lacrosse head, one of our latest heads, that comes in at about 150 grams, particularly light. And then we also have a Alliance handle here, which is made of a composite material. You can also see the Blue Jay insignias all up and down the handle. This is actually being used by the men's lacrosse team this spring.
The thing I noticed, if I may, from the old days, is that the neck has gotten really sort of pinched. Does that make it easier for people who weren't particularly good at this to keep the ball in the mesh?
Absolutely. It serves a couple different purposes. One, retention of the ball, as you just indicated, but also it almost provides a funnel for the ball to move up the stick, and helps with accuracy. What
do you think the next wave is?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. We have seen lacrosse heads, as I just showed here, made of nylon for a number of years. And so I think there's a lot of research right now going into various synthetic materials that could replace your standard nylon lacrosse head. We have a brand new R&D center that we just completed about a year ago. And so we have a full team of engineers, designers, and world-class athletes coming through the facility on a weekly basis to help design these new products.
How's business been for STX the past couple of years? A lot of competition as the sport gets bigger. You have some national big-time equipment makers getting in.
That's true. I tell you, STX has had an interesting ride here over the last 5 or 6 years. As you pointed out, the lacrosse market is absolutely booming. It is one of the fastest growing team sports in the country. It is well documented that the sport grows at about 10% a year. And so absolutely we've enjoyed the growth of the industry. However, we've also have outpaced that growth by about threefold. Whereas the industry is growing at 10%, we're growing at about 30 to 40% a year. So we're awfully proud of what we're doing in downtown Baltimore. And I think these new brands coming into the sport are certainly posing their challenges to us, but we seem to be holding our own.
You make some other equipment as well for different sports.
That's right. We compete in 2 other categories, the first being field hockey. We've been there in this sport for about 15 years. We enjoy a #1 market share position in that sport, and we continue to invest in it daily. Last week, in fact, we just hired a new asset, Carrie Lingo. She is on the USA Women's Field Hockey team and was a captain for many years. So we're in field hockey, but we're also in golf. Our founder didn't...
Not much competition in golf.
Oh, easy marketplace. Our founder didn't stop his creativity on the lacrosse field. He also invented many products for the putting green. And so we have a full line of putters, and that business seems to grow by leaps and bounds every day.
Where do you manufacture all of this?
A mixture of places. Our more complex and innovative products we make as close as 2 hours from here. And then a lot of our other products are made overseas, but a mixture of various factories and locations.
How do you think the brand resonates in the lacrosse world? So you mentioned there's competition coming in. STX goes way back. It means something. What does it mean?
Good question. It always surprises me. A teenage consumer can smell authenticity from a mile away. And STX has authenticity in spades. We've been in the lacrosse market for 42 years. We really started the modern era of lacrosse with the synthetic lacrosse stick. And the teenage consumer can see that. And it really values the STX brand. So even though we may be competing with folks that are infinitely larger than us, the teenage consumer ultimately decides what is going to be purchased. And we've been lucky enough to have them keep choosing STX.
What are the price points? If somebody wanted just a basic introductory stick for a kid to pick up the game versus the equipment that the top teams are using?
Sure. If you are just a little tiker going out for the sport at the first time, a stick will cost anywhere from $19.99 to $29.99. What we also have sticks, as you just indicated, that, for example, the Blue Jays are using this spring that will run $250 to $400, depending on the make and model. So a wide range, Jeff, but we like to make products so that everyone can enjoy the sport, and that's really was the vision of our founder 40 plus years ago.
What do you do for retail channels? Where can this be found?
You know, we have some of our proudest partnerships right here in Maryland. Lax World serves the lacrosse consumer in various locations around the state, and we've been working with them since day one. So it's been we're proud of that relationship, and we recommend people going to facilities like that to get not only the product, but to also get advice on what's best for you.
Well, Jason, thank you for coming by. It was a pleasure meeting you and seeing all the stuff.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks very much.